Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/relationship advice. Should I ask my boyfriend to contribute more money to grocery and utilities? My boyfriend earns more than I do, but he doesn't know that as I've never really disclosed how much I earn. Well, he already did. A month ago, my roommate moved out and he offered to move in with me so I can still split the cost of rent. We agreed to split everything in half. However, my grocery bill, utilities, and food expenditure skyrocketed. I can't keep up with his lifestyle of eating out thrice a week and all the grocery stuff he wants. My electricity bill also went 4 times higher because he just used the AC 10 hours a day, whilst I used to just use it for only 2 to 3 hours. We're in a tropical country. These are expenses I wouldn't have had he not moved in, as I'm very prudent and cheap. I don't want to straight up ask him for more money, but I think it's just fair. How can I have this conversation without sounding demanding? Edit. Just to add, we've been dating for only 3 months, acquaintances for a year, so we're still on the getting to know each other phase and don't want to turn him off. I feel like he might be a little turned off when your lights turn off. I'm just saying. Because you can't afford your half of the bill after y'all are run out of money. Like, yeah, I think that's a conversation y'all need to have for sure. I think it takes a lot for most people to move in with their significant other. So, yes, you've been acquaintances for a year, but just now dating for 3 months. I think there's just a lot of implications that can happen there as you're concerned. I don't know if that was like the best decision if you can't have the roommate talk because it's complicated by that person being your significant other. My 22 female boyfriend, 23 male, wants me to take a job I don't want to do. I am a 22-year-old female and he is a 23-year-old male. We have been together for 4 years. I am currently doing a master's degree from a very good university from home. I have a student loan to cover my tuition fees and savings. I don't live with my boyfriend and we don't share any bank accounts or anything like that. I pay my dad £40 a week rent to help cover food, but don't have any other expenses. I never really buy clothes or anything expensive. I have a part-time job at a pub lined up for when things open in May. My boyfriend messaged me today, out of the blue, saying there was a part-time job going where he worked, and he wanted me to take it. I said I wasn't sure I wanted to because I was focusing on my degree, and he started calling me lazy, saying I was a selfish bee and doing nothing worthwhile to help the pandemic we're in. He says unless I get a part-time job where he works in a supermarket or volunteer somewhere, he will break up with me. The job starts at 4 a.m. He doesn't volunteer. He says he wants us to start saving as a couple, and jobs are short at the moment, and he can get me started immediately. He doesn't want any excuses and doesn't want me to be stubborn because he knows I'm not doing anything else. I told him once again that I'm doing my master's and I have my student loan, and he told me to wake the F up because my loan money isn't free. He said I'm being dumb and can't handle the truth that I'm just a lazy idiot. He says I'm mental and behaving like a child. I told him not to call me names, and he apologized, saying he was stressed because of lockdown and his job and took things out on me. I get his point of view because it looks like I do just stay at home on my laptop all day, but I am doing research and planning essays, etc. I'm also happy to get a job where he works and start saving money as a couple if that is what he wants, but I just don't like the way he went about it. He has never acted like this before. I love him very much, and for the most part, the rest of our relationship has been very good, and he has never mistreated me before. I'm thinking perhaps I'm just overreacting. Any advice would be appreciated. No. I don't think you're overreacting. Maybe I'm just not used to being talked to like crap. But I feel like if you're not in a lifelong committed relationship quite yet, like you're not married, and that kind of stuff comes up, like, no, you're not talking to me like that. I'm not going to put up with you belittling me and treating me like trash because I'm not doing what you think I should do. First of all, also, how would getting a job, aka working with the public in some way, or working around other human beings, be helping the pandemic? Like, I get that you're stressed and probably you talked to somebody who was just like telling you about all sorts of things, but that is just not okay. And this is coming also from a little bit of a personal perspective as someone who does a lot of computer-based work. So it commonly looks like I'm doing nothing while I'm working a lot. And I have been on the receiving end of really awful treatment by people considering me lazy because I don't bring in what people want me to bring in, even though I am doing work. And it's really hard for people who don't see me leave the house to go to a physical place for a job, or don't see like material things popping up in places or something for a material job, to actually understand that what I'm doing is very difficult work in many aspects. So to be told that you should go do this thing because you're lazy while you're working on your master's? No. I'm sorry, that is a red flag. If that's the kind of treatment, no. Maybe I'm being harsh today, but I'm just gonna go with I wouldn't be okay with that. My dad is not my bio dad, and I don't know how to tell him. I, 20 male, am super close to my dad, so can't believe this is happening, and I need advice on what to do. I wanted to get like one of those Ancestry or 23andMe DNA kits for me and my parents because I thought it would be cool to learn some stuff about us. My mom was freaking out. She told me not to mention it to my dad that I want to do something like that because it's not a good idea. For like a week, I was asking her why she don't want me to order one of those, and she wouldn't say anything, but it did bother her a lot. Finally, on Sunday, my dad was working, so she asked me to come to the house. She was crying and apologizing for no reason until she finally told me I am not his biological son. My mom was seeing some guy right after they got married when my dad had to work out of state for a few months. And when she found out she was pregnant, she ended stuff with the dude and tried to go see my dad, so I guess the timeline wouldn't seem off to him or some crap. I don't know. All I know is this is hitting me hard. She told me so many times she's sorry, and she panicked about my dad finding out because she didn't want to lose him. Now she's begging me not to say anything because it could F up our lives, and this is gonna break him. My mom doesn't want to tell him. She said she won't, and that's why she's begging me not to. I'm so mad at her right now. I haven't been able to talk to her since because this is just sitting in my head. I can't stop thinking about it, and it makes me feel like crap. I'm my dad's only son, you know? We were always so close, and now it turns out we're not related? I'm a effing affair baby that my mom tricked him into thinking is his kid. I feel like I have to tell him, but I'm so scared he's gonna react badly, or maybe he won't want to be my dad anymore. I don't know how to tell him this, because my mom won't. This is super effed up, and I don't know what I'm doing. How do I tell him this? Hey love, a very similar situation happened to me. Except I had ordered the DNA test, taken it, gotten very confusing results, spoke with my mother. She literally said, "That's interesting," and asked me not to tell my father. Honestly, I was floored. It was not remotely expected, and it effed me up for quite a while. My mom and I were best friends before this happened, but our relationship deteriorated to the point where I went no contact with her shortly after. My parents came down for a visit, and I refused to meet with them, primarily because I could not stand to lie to my dad. So she finally told him. It destroyed him. He was completely devastated. I told him that regardless as to what a test said, he was my dad, and nothing was ever going to change that. He said that I was his kid, and nothing was going to change that. My parents are working on their relationship. Quite honestly, I do not understand why they're still together, but that's really not my business. I'm just trying to mend my soul and worry about my own kids. Stuff like this tends to come out eventually. I think you should take the test so you know for sure, for yourself. Then you need to decide what you want to do. I couldn't lie to my dad once I knew. I just feel like I would be as bad as her. I don't know how your relationship with your dad is, how close you are, how he would react with this news. You gotta figure that out. I've been in situations not quite like this one, but where it wasn't my place to say something, but it was also like so wrong if I didn't, and being put in the middle like that is just so unfair. And I'm just like, I feel the emotion from this so much. It makes, like, I'm literally tearing up right now. I guess, like, what I think this person needs to know is that if you have lived your life as this man's child, his son, his only son, I don't think that he's going to reject you. He might be really, really hurt. I would expect that to happen. And who knows what's going to happen between him and your mom. But I think no matter what, just like this person said, you guys are parent and child because of that relationship, because he was the one who raised you as a father. You were his son. Like, that's just how it is. And it's really scary because, like, you don't even know, like, like, everything you thought was true is a lie. And what if the person you love so much is gonna reject you? And, like, it just hurts a lot to me because it just makes me think about my family and the struggles that have gone on with, like, my parents. And rejection from parents is really difficult, and fear of that rejection is really scary. And I just really hope the best for you. I hope that everything goes well somehow, at least for you and your dad. I don't know. At that point, I would almost put an ultimatum on it. Like, Mom, you've got, like, a week to tell him, or I'm telling him, because I can't be a part of this. It should come from her, but it's not fair. It's not fair that guilt gets put on you. But I do think, yeah, you need to find out for sure first. I feel embarrassed around my long-term boyfriend. My boyfriend, 21 male, and I, 21 female, have been dating for about 3.5 years. I'm having a bit of an issue. I constantly feel tense/embarrassed around him. He spends a lot of time at the computer doing homework. He's going to transfer to a bigger campus soon as a computer science major. I'm a student as well, but in something less rigorous. We live together, so he's usually at my desk. Sometimes throughout the day, I want to talk to him or simply kiss him or hug him. Simple stuff, since I understand he's busy often. I've been feeling lonely since he's busy, but I usually manage to cope or find something else to do away from school, like drawing, reading, watching shows, playing music, playing BOTW. Anyway, sometimes I'll go over to him and I'll show him something or mention something that caught my attention, and he'll just stare at me like I said something completely weird or stupid. Like, he will hold the stare, and it'll make me uncomfortable to the point where I start darting my eyes elsewhere, and I retreat back. He will simply nod or say okay and go back to work. It makes me feel really stupid. Or I'll tell him something that's going on in my game or whatever for the sake of just wanting some connection, and he'll ignore me. He ignores me a lot, I've noticed. And it's starting to make me feel embarrassed to even talk around him. I'm on the spectrum, so I fumble a lot with my words. It's bringing my self-esteem down, and I'll just feel empty and off for the rest of the day. I've brought it up before, and he tells me he won't do it anymore, but nothing seems to happen. I'll also give him a kiss on top of his head, or hug him, and he'll get irritated, or he won't acknowledge it. In turn, I usually sheepishly pull myself back. It stings often. I feel just like an annoyance. So, as a result, I've started asking him beforehand if I can give him a kiss or a hug, and he gets angry because I ask him. He then says stuff like, "Why are you being so weird? Why are you so weird?" And it just hurts. I just feel like my self-esteem is so low. I've asked him if he still likes me, bluntly, and he assures me all the time that he does. But I just feel off. I don't talk to him much. However, he seems to always talk to me about his stuff. But I just feel shut out or shut down and rejected when I approach him. I feel boring. I've even tried to get into some of his things for the sake of talking to him. Took up some coding. Nothing. Same blank stares. Or he'll frown and then insist I'm being weird. I can't take it anymore. I haven't felt this anxious since high school. I don't think it's normal to feel social anxiety around my long-term boyfriend, right? I don't feel like this with friends. or strangers even. I just find myself feeling empty and embarrassed around him for even saying a peep. It's getting so bad to the point where I feel embarrassed even existing around him. Such as cleaning, eating, picking out clothes, listening to music out loud, just anything. I feel like I live in fear of judgment from him now. I wasn't like this before. So first of all, we can acknowledge that this clearly isn't in your head because he said that he won't do it anymore, meaning he knows that he's doing it. And it sounds like kind of one of those pretentious things where he's like, wow, did you really say that? Wow, you're so annoying interrupting me. Wow, like, no. Again, I'm on the no train. People, y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop, like, dealing with crappy human beings and accepting that that's okay. I get it. There's a whole lot of nuance. I know it's not easy as just saying that. I'm just in a mood right now. And no, it's not okay for him to make you feel that way. You're right. It's not normal for you to feel that anxious around someone who's supposed to be the person you're probably the least anxious around after that long. No, he can just go. X's 26 male parents got him to leave me, 26 female, and our son, 4-year-old male. Parents died, and X now wants to get back together. Adam and I were childhood friends. His parents hated me from the start. He was from an upper middle class family, while my family was firmly working class. His family thought I wasn't good enough for them, while my parents encouraged me to stay away and avoid potential rich people drama. Adam and I started dating when we were both 18, after we moved away to attend the same university. We moved in together at 19 and got engaged at 21. Adam's parents then threatened to cut him off and cause him all sorts of grief. This was not a huge shock, as we knew they hated me, and they had been emotionally and financially abusive toward Adam before this, but we doubted their threats. They then demonstrated how real those threats were, and Adam ended the engagement. Edit. To elaborate on the above, they got him a job with a family friend when he began at uni, and when he told them we were engaged, they got him fired. Adam had all of his personal savings in a joint account with his father, and his father drained the account. The final straw was that they gifted him a watch at his graduation and then reported it stolen, so the police knocked on our door. Shortly after, I found out I was pregnant. Telling Adam went badly. I had the baby and no contact from Adam. Last year, Adam's father passed away. He then asked if he could meet his son. Reunification went as well as it could have, and Adam is a loving father to our child, but nothing happened with us. Then last summer, his mother passed away. A week ago, Adam asked if I want to try again with him. Edit 2. Despite not being able to meet our son, Adam has been contributing financially to our child this whole time, either through cash, which he sent me regularly, or by paying directly for things. Now he is in our son's life, he is still helping financially, and intends to set up a trust fund when his inheritance comes in. He also moved nearer to us when I said that shared custody was a possibility. If he left once, he can leave again, but the reason for him leaving was his parents, who are no longer around. However, we now have a son to think about, and while I would love to give him a nuclear family, if things go wrong with me and Adam, we might not be able to be friendly like we are now. I still love him, though it's more of a platonic love than romantic, but I could see it shifting back to romantic easily. I've spent the week cycling through all of this, and I still don't know what to do. Any advice at all that anyone could give me regarding any of this would be great. I'd welcome another perspective on my relationship with Adam, or how to potentially handle a relationship with a son in the mix. I am conflicted, especially after reading some of the responses that people were giving, because in one sense, she's right. Like, he left once, he could always leave again. However, the extent that his family was going to make his life horrible was pretty extreme. And in a sense, that could have extended to you, where all of a sudden now they're interfering with your life. If you guys got married, just like causing horrible things in your life forever. And I guess he had to assess whether he was okay with that for himself and for his future family to be basically founded on things that are just, sabotage and constant stress and drama. And I could see why that would be a smart thing to do, to drop it before you got married. I probably would feel more strongly against him had you been married. I just find that once you make that kind of commitment, it's a lot more serious. But that's just me personally. To hear that he did support in some way or another consistently is encouraging. He sounds like he definitely, at the very least, wants to be in your son's life, and that's encouraging. For him to also have brought up about y'all trying again, I don't know. I feel like it's up to you. Obviously, it's up to you, but I don't really feel strongly in one way or the other. I can see why people would say, like, screw that, just be like co-parents. And I can also see why it's completely reasonable for him to have done what he did and not be a total jerk. So this one, I would love to hear some comments in the comment section on, because y'all hate it when I go back and forth on my thoughts. My 30 female sister, 24 female, is going to marry her abusive fiance, 24 male, in a week, and I can't help but feel like it's partly my fault. I got married when I was 21, and I have tolerated and justified things I never should have. My sister has always thought the way my husband treated me was incredibly romantic, and that he was the gold standard for how a man should treat his wife. When things started getting bad between us, I was so heavily in denial that I covered things and lied to my family. Even though I knew that certain things he did and said weren't okay, I would let my sister romanticize them so I didn't have to face the reality. Eventually, I reached a breaking point and left him. I was pregnant at the time, so my sister saw it as the ultimate act of betrayal. I remember she had some very nasty things to say to me, including calling me a lying, ungrateful bee. We've moved past it, but even still, if I say something even mildly negative about my husband, she gets incredibly angry at me and defensive. Honestly, she acts more like he's her family than I am at times. My sister got engaged 5 months ago. They've been together for over 2 years, but I only found out about him 5 months ago. I immediately disliked him, but it only got worse when my sister was telling me about their relationship, and she described a lot of emotional, physical, verbal, but she made it seem romantic or like she deserved it, and he was doing those things to make their relationship stronger. Anytime I try to tell her that these things are wrong, and a partner should never treat you that way, she throws it back in my face. She'll say something like, "So it's okay for you, but not okay for me? Stop acting jealous. What would your husband think? At least I'm not the one who married someone after knowing them barely a year. And I don't need advice from someone who had to run to mommy and daddy because she wasn't getting enough attention." I honestly don't know what to say or do to get through to her. I feel like I'm partly to blame and that she's trying to model her relationship on mine/my husband based on things she has said to me, but even though my husband treated me badly at times, he wasn't ever even half as bad as the things she's described to me. They're getting married in a week and I'm terrified for her. I need advice on what to do to get through to her. Additionally, with this post, there's a lot of confusion of whether she's married right now or not, because she talks about her husband instead of her ex-husband, which is confusing to me because she said she left him while she was pregnant. Sounded like she decided to get out of the relationship, but then her sister's saying, like, what would he think? And, like, who cares if they're not married anymore or if this is a new person? So we're all a little bit lost on what the heck is going on there. However, it's very concerning, and yet I don't know that it's possible for you to get through to her. Some people suggested to go ahead and try to tell the reality behind the things that you let be glamorized or romanticized. But even then, it sounds like this girl is, like, dead set on believing a certain thing, and it's really weird. Like, it's really weird. So this person could be a master manipulator, and that's why she just has been convinced her sister is awful and so somehow he's amazing, or like she had a crush on him at some point and for some reason thinks that he can do no wrong. Like, I don't know what is going on there. It's really weird. It sounds almost delusional, but then again, who knows? He might be super charismatic, and that's why. It is also a bit weird that nobody, at least you, and I'm assuming other family members, didn't know about this boyfriend until they decided that they were engaged, which also concerns me because it does sound like he's already setting her up for kind of closing her off from her family, and unfortunately, if that kind of conversation about, like, this is what was really going on, dude, and it's not okay, and no, it's not okay for me either, like, no, that's why this is why this has to stop. Like, why do you want to get married to someone who's going to continue to make your life horrible? Like, if that doesn't make it through, it is unfortunate, but probably true that she's gonna have to wake up to it herself. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I apologize for being MIA. I'm going to set what I hope is, I feel like it's a realistic goal of once a week, so at least that should be something to look forward to. We'll see how that goes. But thank you all so much for sticking around. Really quickly, I would like to thank my patrons. Up on the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy case. Thank you all so much for supporting me in that way. If you're interested in becoming a patron, checking out the original posts from today's video, or sending me an email for possible inclusion in a future video, all of that information is in the description box, so be sure to check it out. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!